So please welcome me in joining Joe B., our speaker.
Thanks for sharing. Sure.
I'll be all right. Woo, that nerves. It's going to take a while to shake these out. I'm an addict. My name is Joe. Once again, I'm an addict, and my name is Joe. I'm a grateful, recovering addict. And I'm so grateful I found Narcotics Anonymous. Didn't plan this. Whew. Housekeeping time. I'm one of those guys that likes to push the feelings aside and not feel them and not deal with them, right? So I should allow myself to feel this moment because I am truly grateful to Narcotics Anonymous and the life I have today. I'm grateful for all the people in my life. My friends from Toronto. My friends from far and wide, Florida, Connecticut. My friends that I met over the years from all the different areas in Ontario. But Narcotics Anonymous for me is home, wherever I go. Cheat notes. Thanks. So I want to say, first and foremost, I want to say thanks to the committee for asking me and believing in me and wanting me to come up here and share my experience, strength, and hope on sponsorship. I was saying to Mark over there, he's going to duck and dive and run, but he says, well, what are you going to share on sponsorship anyways? It's like, you go to a meeting, you look for a sponsor, you get one, you work the steps, and that's about it. Their sponsorship's done. Thank you very much. I'm done. Let me go back to thanking. I can get off on a tangent very easy. I want to say thank you to everybody who's volunteering here this week. Just like Sarah. There's so many people, like Yaz talked about it, right? It takes the many people that come together to put on one of these things. So I'm extremely grateful for having a place again to come to. It's wow. I was going to share a lot of other stuff and whatnot, and had it all planned, and this stuff's coming up, and I forgot all that other stuff. Where's my cheat notes, for real? My cheat notes. All right, so you guys know what this is, right? Anyone who's new here doesn't know what this is? You can come up here and I'll give it to you later. It's yours. IP number 11, sponsorship revised. And it kind of was modified to go along with the sponsorship book. And so they tweaked it a bit so it would match the different chapters. But we have a lot of resources. If you go to the back of the book, my first sponsor, he's in the room, Uncle Sam. Love you, Sam. Sam showed me, one of the first things he showed me was the back of the book. Yep. The very back, where you could reference anything and everything and any topic. And if you go to the back of the book, there's a lot of references to sponsorship, some really good references too, right? And so all the literature are just for today book, same thing, a lot of places to look at and read about sponsorship on it at any given time. So if you're confused, and you don't feel like going up to people and asking them about sponsorship, there's a lot of resources on it. I chose today with this pamphlet, I'm going to read, to help me along, I'm going to read the highlighted boxes. So, my relationship with my sponsor has been the key to gaining. I'm all watery, I can't see, it's blurry. Nicole, thank you. Look at that. I knew already. Thank you, sir. All right. My relationship with my sponsor has been the key to gaining trust in other people and working the steps. I shared the total mess that was my life with my sponsor. And he shared that he had been in the same place. He began to teach me how to live without the use of drugs. So if you can relate to that, I'm going to talk a little bit about that. So my journey, I have one story, and I'm going to share my story on sponsorship. Julie, I'm not going to, where are you? She goes, we like to hear a little bit about the past days of using and stuff, but trust me, it was a mess. Like I said right there, it was a mess, and I made a mess of it, and I was rebellious and didn't want to listen to anybody, and I was full of ego and all that other stuff. So by the time I found Narcotics Anonymous, I was ready, and then you guys were talking about sponsorship. So I came into Narcotics Anonymous in 1993 on August 17th. That's my clean date. I came and I stayed. I came a few days before and went to treatment, etc. So a few white key tags before there, but I wasn't ready for anything until I went to treatment, where I was introduced to Narcotics Anonymous and the other fellowship through the H&I subcommittees. And they had 2 meetings a week in that facility as well. And that's where the message of Narcotics Anonymous got to me. And part of working the program was get a sponsor. So when I came back to Toronto, I looked around for a while. I shopped. And this pamphlet talks about there's many ways to find a sponsor, and you can get one right away, or you can, look around to all the many fine examples of what a program should look like, and then ask someone to be your sponsor if you truly like what you see. And how can you know if someone's working a step or these steps or whatever, how they're living, unless, until you've actually asked somebody, and then you end up finding out, and there's one of these bubbles later on I'll talk about, you can always get rid of your sponsor and find a new one. if you so choose, right? And that's not, there's nothing wrong with that. The point I'm trying to make there is there's nothing wrong with that. But so here I am. I come into Narcotics Anonymous. I shopped around. I was going to say, I was sponsored by a bunch of Italians. I went to the meetings. There were predominantly a lot of Italians, and I met people, and that's where I needed to be, because I came from the pool hall that was full of Italians, right? And anyways. So I went to these meetings, and I found Sam. I said, Sam, look at this guy. He's a popular guy, right? Everybody knows him, and Sam, he's going to the meetings and he's sharing like a champ, right? I said, that's my sponsor. I'm going to go up and ask him. So Sam was my sponsor, and I was in aftercare from the treatment, because I went to treatment in the States, but when I got back, there was aftercare here, and sponsee. At one point, like you know what, Narcotics Anonymous, the support we get here, that I get anyways, I don't know about you all, but there's a bunch of people in here that just came to support me and they wanted to hear me. Some said, we haven't heard you speak at all, Joe. I said, well, you're not going to hear me speak today either, because this is big mumbo-jumbo mess. But anyways, so Sam was sponsoring me, but I wasn't using Sam like a sponsor should be. I was using Sam, and literally using him, because I wanted to meet more people in Narcotics Anonymous. I couldn't get with Sam. He would take me for a walk around the block from this clubhouse that we had in Toronto every night. How are you doing, Joe? I'm fine. Fine. I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm good. Those were my answers to Sam. And he goes, fine, there's an acronym. Fucked up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. And I think you're all of that. You're fine. That's right, you are. And he also told me, he goes, Joe, you're going to go far in this program? I said, oh, yeah? He goes, yeah, because you got a long fucking way to go. So I'm grateful for Sam. He was doing the work in his own recovery, and he was just trying to help me, like the literature talks about. And he was just trying to get me to the steps. And I couldn't talk to him about anything in my life, past or present, or even when I wanted to go in the future. I wasn't talking to a lot of people except going to a lot of meetings and hiding in the meetings, right? So I knew from being in treatment, we did something that was supposed to be a 4th step, and the 5th step was supposed to be done there as well. So I wrote like 10 pages of work, and then the 5th step, I found out the day of that it was to be done with a nun. And they said, a nun? Right? I looked at my stuff and said, she's not going to hear this. No. But I knew that stuff, you guys were always talking about, that stuff I needed to deal with it. So I came back to Toronto. I couldn't share with Sam. I was holding on to all this stuff. And I said, what the fuck am I going to do, right? And there was another guy in my early recovery. I used with him before I came to Narcotics Anonymous. There he was. Sam sponsored him. He was Little Joe, and I was Big Joe, I guess. Not I guess, I know. So there was Little Joe and Big Joe. And Little Joe's also in some areas known as Jesus Joe. So some of you may have heard of him, but he's a fantastic guy, man. He's my brother. And Sam sponsored him, right? So we were doing 2 and 3 meetings a day, and Sam would say to me, he goes, you guys still hiding in those meetings? I said, fuck. When I go to those meetings, I'm sitting in the step group, and we're sharing, and we're going deep, and blah, blah, blah. And he goes, but Joe, you got to work the steps or die, motherfucker. It's the first time I ever said that line, not in Sam's voice. What I call Sam's voice, right? Oh, here, I'll do it for Sam. You gotta work the steps or die, motherfucker. But so I learned to swear from Sam. No. Sam taught me everything there is to know about swearing. But anyways, again, this is just my story on sponsorship. But I hope it might help somebody. So anyhow. The reason why I mentioned treatment and then coming back, we had aftercare, and I would go to aftercare once a week, and I would share about Sam. And I said, I don't know, this guy, he gets in my face, and he tells me things that I don't want to hear. And they said, you know what, Joe, you can let go of your sponsor and find a new one, right? I said, yeah, but I hear a lot of people share about their sponsors, and they've had them for 8 years, 10 years, 20 years, and I don't know which is the right way or the wrong way, right? And Sam had his sponsor for a while too, and I said, so it went on like this for about 8-9 weeks, and finally, Sam, I finished treatment. Aftercare, and I went to the spot there where we were all hanging out, and Sam says, "Let's go for a walk." Right? And I said, good, this is the opportunity. I'm going to take the chance now to tell Sam I'm going to be moving on. And so we go for a walk. I don't like to work on my recovery that much, eh? So I'm going for the walk. Sam says, Joe, this ain't working. And I said, wow, in my head, wow, he did the work for me, right? There is a God. Right? But anyways, he let me go on for my own good. Right? He wanted me to have what everybody else had. So I moved on to a gentleman. He's down in Florida now, fixing Paul's house. No, he's down in Florida. He's got a spot there on the other side, and so he's not here this weekend. Morris, I love him dearly. So I got Morris. I don't know if anyone knows him, Morris G, but it's been around a while. He sponsors me. He helps me. He brought me into step studies, and he's been there for me. And I've been able. He's such a kind-hearted guy. I've been able to sit there and talk to him about my stuff, right? Someone once asked, "Why do I need a sponsor?" The sponsor replied, "Well, it's pretty hard to spot self-deception by yourself." For anyone that just walked in and reading from this. So, yeah, I was great at self-deception of myself. There's a speaker that I heard once say, he says it all the time, he goes, that nonsense makes perfectly good sense to me. Right? And I was all about a bunch of nonsense in my life. And I needed someone in my life that could help me, guide me. So you know what? In the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous, I've been sponsored by and learned and I've grown from the many people that have sat in those rooms, right, and shared their recovery openly. And you guys show me what to be working on, not what the garbage and the stuff that I want to do. It's not good, right? I can get off on a tangent very easy. So, anyways, so Morris sponsors me, but after a while, Morris decided to step back a little from the fellowship, and he stopped doing service and stopped going to meetings and whatnot. So I had to talk to him about it and tell him that I was going to get somebody else to sponsor me. So I was looking around again, tried the long distance relationship with somebody in the States, in Detroit, circuit speaker at that, Charlie C. And Charlie loves me, and I haven't seen Charlie in years, but he helped me. He helped me in a few different ways. I could talk to him about stuff, but he also helped me just to know that he would come from wherever he was, anywhere in the world. He'd come for me, right? And it was good to know that, and he'd be there for me. But I found another sponsor locally in the Toronto area, and he had started off I believe he started off in Guelph. Then he went to Barrie. Guelph. And then he moved to the Toronto area. So the qualities that I chose in this gentleman for him to be my sponsor was he was a Narcotics Anonymous member. He was working the steps in his life and the traditions. He was doing service, not only at his home group, but at the area and other levels of service. And he was married. He had a relationship. He had 2 children. He was a father, and a damn good one at that. And he had qualities that I needed and wanted. And so anyways, I asked him, Roger, to sponsor me, and he had 1 year less clean time. And to me, it didn't matter. He had what I wanted, right? So this is my story, but if it helps you, on how you're choosing a sponsor if you don't have one, it doesn't have to look a certain way. It has to be what works for you, that you can, get onto this program and get working it, right? And get the benefits and the joys and the beauties of a drug-free life, the promises. And, Tito did such a good job. Yesterday, My first sponsor, really and truly, was, you hit a nerve, was my mother. She was my first sponsor. I didn't listen to her. I rebelled against her, and she was still always there for me through it all. She prayed for me. She came to the spot once. Felt really bad because of, Mom, you got to go. It hurt. I went inside, and I was crying in the at the place, the rooming house. That I wasn't even sleeping at this or registered at this rooming house. I was just there because the dope was there, of course, right? But and my stepfather was with her, and he kind of said, "Come on, let's go." He doesn't want you right now. So, and to this day, I still feel really bad. Both my mother, my father, my stepmother, and my stepfather, they're all dead. They're all passed. And I live my life today. I live in their memory for them. My life before Narcotics Anonymous was, I had a goal. And my goal was to make my parents proud, that I would fulfill their goal, that they would share with me. And they say, Joe, you're never going to amount to nothing. And I did that. Right? I accomplished that dream for them. I thought that was not their dream. It was in my head. Right? And so once I got that out of the way and I got clean and I seen things for what they were, they always wanted me to have the best in life. Right? And they always wanted the best for me. You know, and you guys and this program have been what's doing that for me, to give me the best life possible, you know. And my mom, in the end, when she got sick, I was able to be there on a daily basis for the last 3 years of her life when she was in the hospital, and you know, and you know, Lena, she shares about her mom, and it just opens things up in me, man. And, you know, and that's like I'm not haphazard ending up in front of a person or somebody sharing, whether it's a friend or a stranger, and it's not like God hasn't put that person in my life at that very moment to tell me what's right and what I need to be looking at, right? Because I too, like, you know, I'm shiny stuff. I'm like that, right? Shiny stuff. And I'll forget about what's important. You know, truly what's important, right? So along the way, my teachers, be it my sponsors or you people, along the way taught me it isn't a destination. It's the moment now. It's the journey. That's what it's all about, you know. It's about what we're doing in the here and now, the fun we're having, you know. A few people local here to Mike and the other, I guess it's the chair of the convention, he put us in his truck, and they took us for a tour around the city, the Nickel. They brought Tito and Paulie and me, the five of us, and fuck, did we get the grand tour, you guys? But he had access to the back of the smelting place and everything, got into even where the tours don't go, right? And very knowledgeable, but, you know, I just, I'm grateful, right? Just grateful for everything and everything. You know, sponsorship is an amazing thing, right? Let me read a little bit more so I might be able to share a little bit more on sponsorship. 209, we're doing all right. I rely on my sponsor to give me general direction and a new perspective. If nothing else, that is an important sounding board. No, sorry. She's an important sounding board. Sometimes all it takes is saying something out loud to someone else for me to see things differently. You know, and was it Cody? Where is he? Cody. Cody was going to go yesterday. He was going to go up to his room and he was going to isolate. Got me thinking about this, right? It's like the nonsense that he would have been in. And I'm the same way, Cody. You know, my mirror's in front of me. You're talking about it. It's like sometimes I just need to be with people, you know, and talk to them. And when I'm talking to them, they don't have to say nothing. They could give me some advice that makes perfectly no sense or whatever. But it's still what I've shared and I thought about is, oh, you know what you should be doing. You should be working a step or something. That the voice of my true sponsor comes into my head, right? When I'm going through something, I already know before I go talk to my sponsor, he's going to say one thing and one thing only. Morris is going to say, okay, Joe, that's great. So what step are you working? Right? And usually the answer is I'm not working a step. I'm stuck in the problem. So maybe I'm in the unmanageability side of it in step one or whatever, right? But, you know, at the end of the day, it's like anything and everything I go through in my life, you bring it through the process of the steps. And I go from hurting to healing to coming out the other side, you know, and that's with anything in my life, you know, and you guys have found that out through doing your own work, and I need to be reminded because I got the built-in forgetter like everybody, right? It's like, oh yeah, the steps. So here we go. When I picked my sponsor, I looked at it like an interview. Are we a match? What are your expectations and what are mine? I look for someone open-minded who I felt comfortable talking to. So, here it is here. This is not in the bubble, but I wanted to read that plus this. The best place to look for a sponsor is an NA meeting. Other places to seek a sponsor are NA events, such as service meetings and conventions. In seeking a sponsor, most members look for someone they feel they can learn to trust. Someone, and it goes on, but you can find one right here, right now if you want. You know, even if you don't even know that's the right person. Even if they're long distance or short distance, you can find one right here. Just go up to them and ask them. They're going to tell you that their life's busy. It's not rejection. It's just they can't do it. You don't personalize it, right? There's a lot of people in here that have a lot to give if you don't have one, right? When I got clean, I was insecure, lonely, and willing to do anything for some comfort and company. My natural tendency was to satisfy these desires and not have to focus on what was necessary to build a foundation for my recovery. Thank God for the integrity of those members who supported me and didn't take advantage of me in the early days of my recovery. You know what? I'll say it again over and over, and I couldn't hear Sam in the early days. But it truly is, thank God, it truly is all about the steps. You know, we're here. I came here to work a different program. Joe's program did not work. Let go and let Joe did not work. Didn't work. Got myself into a mess all the time, right? So you come here and you find the program of Narcotics Anonymous. It's in the steps. It's in the literature. I'm a big fan of the literature. Everybody who knows me, when I first got clean, I was looking for shortcuts and trying to get out of doing the work. So what I did was everybody was having a good time at this coffee shop, and they'd see me in the corner, even Sam. They'd see me reading my book. Now, what are you doing? Come have a coffee. Come do this. Come do that. No, give me a second, right? So I studied that literature because I wanted the answer. I wanted to look. I knew you guys hid it in that literature somewhere, but there was one or two paragraphs or a line or maybe a whole chapter somewhere hidden in there that was going to say, do this, you will never use again. And if I did that, I wouldn't have to use again, and I wouldn't need you guys or the meetings. Right? Wasn't in there. But I'm grateful I studied the literature because I found in that literature and subsequently the literature that came along afterwards, we got great literature, man. We got some great literature, right? And I see the enthusiasm in the Toronto area by a bunch of the newer members, the up-and-coming shows and the gang and everybody else. There's a whole bunch of them in here, and they're also in here to support me, the Codys, and right? And these guys, they're taking suggestions easily, and that's a good thing. Scotty, man. Scotty does all kinds of stuff. Yeah, especially Scotty's sitting right beside his sponsor. Yeah. His sponsor, Richard. I love you, Richard. So, yeah. Quite the journey. I've traveled extensively thanks to Narcotics Anonymous. I've been through so much, good and bad. Where I get stuck is because I'm not working the program. I'm working Joe's program again. I need to get back to applying the steps or whatnot, right? But I got to be mindful, you know. Just got to remember, you know, I have to remember that none of this for me came from me. And all the work and everything was God working in my life. It was all about God guiding me, because I pray every day. I pray for guidance, and I pray for strength, and I pray for protection from God in my life. And then I hit the ground running, and I got to try and be mindful of what is it I'm doing, right? There's a gentleman that was from the Baltimore area, and he passed on, and he used to come up here, and he used to do retreats for us. His name was Father Sam. Father Sam was a Catholic priest who found his God in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous, right? And I have his latest and last speech at a convention before he passed, and It was one of the best ones he did. But when he was up here, he gave me some tools, right? And one of the tools and one of the prayers he gave me was, pray, Joe. Pray this tiny prayer. And I still pray it to this day. And it's, God, meet me today where I need you the most. God's with me everywhere I go. Wherever I go. Right here, right now. Wherever I go. But I forget that, right? I don't see God. I don't feel God. I don't, and then when I'm stop myself for a second and think about it, God's right there, right in the thick of things. God had brought me to where I am and where I needed to be. And I have to pay attention. I have to pay attention to where I am and what I'm doing and what's the message for me. Or where do I need to do the work at that moment, right? Sure, we're up here in Sudbury. The last time I was here was 20 years ago or whatever. The York, I didn't come to the last one in Sudbury, but people were getting the elevator was stopping and people getting stuck in the elevator and things were happening, weird stuff, right? But here we are, we're in Sudbury again, and I'm looking around at the miracles here. It's here, it's right now, and I don't want to miss it, right? If I've missed it, it's because I'm not remembering that today I'm not using. That's the biggest miracle ever. We all today we got another day. We're here, we're clean. That's the miracle, and that's a gift. From where I come from, this is just not a statement. From where I come from, and for what I did and what I was doing and where it took me, I should be dead. I should be dead, man. And many have come from my area and people I used with, and a few have come and gone just recently too. And it's like, man, why can't they get it? Right? I think about it for a while, and then I let it go, and I keep praying for them. And we do the serenity prayer along with the ones I don't know, right? But I need to mention too, now that I'm remembering what I was going to talk about when I open. I need to remember guys like Frank, Fab, the ones that have gone on. Everybody talks about their predecessors. So many, the Morris, the Danny, Freddie just passed recently. And I need to look around at you guys and say, you know what? I'm happy to see you guys, man. I love you guys because we don't know. We don't know, right? And I'm grateful to them, the ones that came before. Fab was the first one. Whenever I went to the Road to Recovery, which was one of my first home groups, he would be the one at the front of the room 32 years ago saying, we're going to love you until you learn how to love yourself. He would say it not to me, he would say it to the whole meeting at the secretary's announcements. The first place I heard it was the Road to Recovery. Some great members, and I'm forever grateful for the predecessors like Tony and Sam and many others, Paulie in his neighborhood, Tito and whatever in their hoods, the ones that are still alive. I'm forever grateful. Julia, Lena, Nicole, master of the espresso machine. We had a great time. I don't know if anyone's heard the story, but anyways, the other day we were all invited to the park and we had a blast and we were dancing on the rocks and Paulie was trying to get onto the jet ski and offering $10. God bless you, Paulie. Right? And yesterday there was a guy. We were standing at the top waiting for our ride, and this is the sponsorship of Narcotics Anonymous. There's a lot of trust. So we're standing, me and Paul, waiting for the ride to come by, check out. And this other guy says, you want a ride? And we said, sure, guy. We don't know where our guy is, right? So we jumped in his car. By the time we got to the bottom of the hill, the ramp, he got a phone call. And they said, you're volunteering at 9:30, right? And he said, yeah, 9:30 tomorrow. He goes, no, 9:30 right now. And he said, oh, shit. He jumped out of the car, put it in park, jumped out of the car. He says, here's the keys, go. Right? He had his sponsee in there. I didn't know it was his sponsee. I just thought he was a newcomer, right? I said, scratch him. I said, this is Narcotics Anonymous, man. What the fuck? Right? I'd do the same, but I just find it strange when it was happening the other way, right? Narcotics Anonymous was putting the trust into he doesn't know if I drive like a race car driver, maniac, whatever, but anyways. Yeah, I really wish I could go into depth and have more the literature. I even went to the sponsorship book when Heather called me and said, "You're going to pick up Polly at the airport." I said, "Yeah, and Polly's going to stick with me, and we're going to go sightseeing." But she goes, "Okay," and then she called me back and she goes, "Oh, by the way, do you want to speak on sponsorship?" I go, "What?" Right? But anyways, from that point on, I started reading the book. And there's not a whole lot in there that, it gets repetitive after a while. Like, here I am, it's getting repetitive too, right? But I don't know what to say. I think I'll shut it down. We're almost there anyways, right? So it's a joy, it's a blessing, this ride that I'm on. And, if you notice some of the shirts I'm wearing, this one here says... service will keep you clean. When I go, yes, bingo. Right? But I also know that my sponsor told me, I don't know if it was Sam or one of them, that the rewards for service is just that, service. Right? If you want to stay clean, you got to work the steps with a sponsor. You can work the steps without a sponsor too, but after a while you will work it with a sponsor. But yeah. What else can I say? You know what? Yeah, I was going to talk about. So I've been going to Thailand and the Philippines for the NA convention in January and February. Right? You work hard at your recovery. Sooner or later, you're going to get old like me. I feel like I'm old. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. People have said you're not, Joe, but anyhow, I'm getting there, right? And I'm seeing people leave us and move on to the next life or whatever. And it's like, I want to enjoy, I want to go and I want to see and I want to, I go down there to Thailand and I have witnesses that when you go down there, the fellowship is strong. The meetings are fantastic. When I go there with 32 years clean almost 31 and a half, I'll call it, no friends. But when I go down there, I'm the newcomer. I'm the baby, right? In that area, they have people with 38, 40, 42, 45 years, all these expats, they call them, from the U.S., from Canada, from Australia, from New Zealand, from the U.K., from all over, from Italy. I've met them all, and the convention in Thailand is, the last one was 600 strong. People came from all over the world. We get a lot of people from Toronto go to it. People go to the Philippines. It's more of a local with less tourists at that convention. Right? It's very small and very quaint. I walked in to that convention in the Philippines, and I was embraced like they had known me for my whole life, and they didn't make me pay a thing. We went island hopping one day, big pigs, all the fruits and vegetables and the dancing, and it was such a great time. I can't even put it to words, right? But that's what I want to do with my life now. You know what? I've worked hard in my life. Worked really hard in my recovery, but I've also worked hard in my job and my investments or whatever, and stuff I learned from you guys here in Narcotics Anonymous, right? And so now I want to just, my kids are good. They live with me now. I, for the longest time in my early recovery, struggled with that. Sam sat with me in Sick Kids Hospital when my daughter in early recovery was going in and out for treatments and stuff. There were other people here at the time, Corrado and Nancy, who I don't see much. Poor Corrado's still using, I think. But anyways, needless to say, they were with me. They stood by me, And this is Narcotics Anonymous. I didn't do most of my stuff alone. It was through the help of Narcotics Anonymous and the people here, right? They stood by me, I hear it shared about all the time. The warriors, the soldiers, and that's you guys. For me, that's you guys. You guys are the guys that are in the fight. Because staying clean doesn't come easy. It does not come easy. It takes work. Right? Now I'm going beyond, so I'm going to shut it down. I'm not going to break off anywhere. Thanks for letting me share. And thanks for letting me be a part of this convention this weekend. Again, I'm truly grateful. And have a great weekend. Thanks. What's this? Used?
I think it's
Okay.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, on behalf of ORCNA, myself, and I think everyone in this room, I would like to thank Joe for sharing his experience, strength, and hope with us. Can you please join me in closing this meeting with the WE version of the Serenity Prayer? Sarah B., do you want to take us out?
Sarah, are you here, Sarah B?
Michaela, do you want to take us?
Oh, I'd be honored. Hi, family. I'm Michaela Nomadic. Let's let this circle represent what we can't do alone. We certainly can do together. Take a moment of silence for the still suffering addict inside and outside of these rooms. Sometimes that's you, sometimes that's me. For the addict who walked by, didn't know these rooms exist. And, let's take that moment now. Who brought us here? God. Grant us serenity to accept the things we cannot change, courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Keep coming back, it works, it's a work, it's a work, it's a work.
There we go. Okay. Yes. There you are. I don't know if I should bring that up to him.
No, you should come get it because it's still recording.
For 7 hours. I'm not saying I'm here for 7 hours. I'm going back in the room. I want some fresh air. Yeah. So.
There's another thing that I forgot to say. Don't take things from my face value. Question everything. We'll get past the fucking high. Joey made me cry. Okay, Sam, I'll give you your $50 later, okay? Okay, I'll give you $50. You told me you owe money. One day we're in a parking lot of Jesus Joe $50. Right? This is yes, he does.
Right.
That's how I gravitated right away. He didn't talk to me for a week. And then he called me and he said, hey, you remember that when he did Jesus Joe This guy used to take us on Christmas Eve to go get coffees for the homeless. And we couldn't find fucking home. Then we're driving one way, and it's like clearly below. There's a guy standing. Get off the floor. I look outside. I got out of the car and I said, window. I knew the guy. He comes out, he's looking, right? And he had no shoes on. He drove to the office.
Maybe. Yeah. Oh, maybe it is.
Yeah. You know what? I gotta find that out. I gotta go see Tony right now, actually.
I don't know because I heard that gets you.
Reserve seating. Yes.
Yeah, I can.
For the banks team.
Maybe yes, maybe no. Some places do the banquet, but it's right in.
We're hanging out with this guy.
It doesn't matter to me.
I want to extend my arm.
Those two guys.
We're doing dinner, right? Yeah, we're doing
Joe B! Good job, my friend. Good job.
Hello, huh?
I'm with you. Meeting with me is Julia and me. And we'll go to wherever.
Wait. But Ken and Bella and I want to come.
Who?
And Sean.
I'm not the administrator of that thread.
This guy decided to make some
Yeah, the Philippines is in January.
nail him down. So Nick doesn't like, so Tony and I are the kind of people, we're like,
the 30 days,
let's
right?
go, we're all going.
Exactly.
Nick is like,
My wife's
I just want to go, I want to eat, I want to invite the fucking convention, not the Am's going.
I'm not the administrator.
That's what he used to get kind of like bitchy. I don't want to invite the fucking whole world here. Let's just go eat sushi.
He knows me through hospitality.
Yeah. So I'm telling him the real Nick, the Toronto Nick. I'm telling him the real Nick actually. But you changed.
That's why when you coined him hospitality, I laughed.
Yeah, that is
See you down here before the
All right.
So what are you going to do for dinner? Yes, I will.
Let me get a picture of everybody.
I know you're hoping.
Yeah, I'm going to be in the picture. You got a watch, everybody?
I went in.
Come on, everybody, over here.
Here. Julia, over here.
Right on, Vito. Take your time.
All right, wait back to the screen.
Take your time, but hurry up.
Come in.
Jeez.
Good job. Yeah, those are the best. Easy.
We're in the zone.
I got the banqueting, right? We're doing banquet, all right?
Yeah. That's what we just said.
You went on Julie Mason.
It's my truth. All I know is with me. I don't know anybody else. No. Now you're scared around. What's this? You're recording us. Watch what you say, George. You never know, right?
Too late for that. I've smoked it in the past.
Then it was like she just.
I didn't swear.
I swear.
I don't know something. It's so placated to swear people.
Sometimes it's just.
You hear something. Tell everybody.
You know what? Though the other piece of the thing with me and Nick Saturday nights is for the lawn longest time. So his group of friends are like my group of friends. They all got to know before. Right? They're like 20 years on 13. So like for fucking years. Finally one day.
Changes it every time she comes in, eh?
That's not true. I used to,
Like she told it.
but finally he just looks at me like, enough with the fucking dinner. You're in. Just fucking come
You're
in.
in,
dinner.
oh.
Yes, I made it.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
Can at the cake?
Huh?
Can at the cake?
And you know what? Here's the thing with Ken, though. He'll find, he'll make do. Like, he'll find something. He will, wherever he goes. Yeah, he will.
Well, I mean,
I'm going to be honest. Here's the thing. I want to come with people like this. And I know, like, Bella's like, let's do this and this.
and then
It's neat. Bella drinks protein shakes. I want to go and eat some food. Anyway. Is that where you guys are thinking of going to Ken?
she texted me on going cakes and talked to me.
Yeah, trying to see how smart they are and all that.
Christ is for me. Christ says me.
Yeah. Cake is good, though. I know. Cake is good. And it's, like, consistent, right?
No, he's not worried about the answer. He's worried about the sneaker being dirty. Oh. Yeah, he's worried about the Yeah. So he's worried about the kicks.
Well, I only bought one Magic Eraser, man.
Yeah, I'll go buy one.
It's just,
I'll go buy one at the dollar store.
Right up.
I know.
I ordered a brand new pair of shoes for this convention. I had all my outfits planned. So I really bring my hair. They're only supposed to come on Thursday. And they're not coming till fucking Saturday. So I'm gonna go all day. Yeah, especially just night. So I'm like, I've been accepting surrender with old.
I got one. The reward for service is service. That was heavy when my sponsor bought that one on. Reward for service is service. But I want change back.
Service recovery or recovery-based service? What do you want to do?
I want to be in a different league, man. Put me up in the category of.
Joe, you're all in a league on your own, buddy.
You think?
Yes, you are, my friend.
Thanks,
There ain't
Jen.
nobody
Thanks,
like
Jen.
you, bro.
I don't take Jen at face value, that's why. She couldn't be insinuating anything when she said that.
So you're not coming to Barbados this year, right here?
You ever been?
That's because you do lots of traveling. It's good.
I was on ball for a while, but I got out of it. I was on the end.
I love traveling.
It's really complicated.
Yeah. If I had the money, I'd be doing it. If I could take the time off,
So,
I'd
yeah.
start a new
I
job, a
backed
new
up.
career, really.
You know who's
Yeah.
get you in? Nadine.
Yeah. Right.
Talk to her.
Okay. Yeah.
Step those eyelashes.
Okay.
Hang coat hangers off. Okay. Good hang coat hangers off.
He didn't go like this. He said like this. Way out here.
Yeah.
She's got a big, that afro clip.
You do a lot of conventions, like traveling around conventions. That's cool. Yeah.
She, me and her, I didn't want to feel like I was her son.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to feel like I was her son because she was always lecturing me.
Okay. She's living her good life too. Different ways. Wait, she's not addict. She's not in the program. No.
Are you guys together?
Yeah.
I've always been a traveler in my using, and as a traveler,
You guys waiting for her?
She's the chair of program, and I was her vice chair because I was supposed to bring in the Canadian contingent. There's a lot of Canadians go to the convention as well.
but it's like this.
We're all slow.
This extra thing. Just can't.
But I dropped out. I couldn't keep the commitment. She was like, I was her son or something.
Soul to know that no matter what, where you're going, if nothing's working out on your trip, you could go to meetings, you'll be okay. Or conventions. It's amazing.
Yeah. I'm going to do a meeting in like things
Carswell
and like
or
they gave me
something.
one in English and I'm reading it and they didn't know what I was saying and I didn't know what they were saying.